Discipline is more powerful than motivation.
Welcome to Agency for Change, a podcast from KidGlov that brings you the stories of changemakers who are actively working to improve our communities. In every episode, we'll meet with people who are making a lasting impact in the places we call home.
Hey, everyone. Welcome back to the Agency for Change podcast. This is Lynn Weinman, President and Chief Strategist at KidGlov. So today I am talking with someone who is using the power of hope, relationship, and community collaboration to alleviate the problem of poverty and homelessness. My guest is Rich Schaus. He is the Executive Director of Gospel Rescue Mission, and I can't wait for you to hear about his innovative and compassionate work. Rich, welcome to the podcast.
I'm really excited to chat with you and get this conversation out there and maybe help some communities move forward and actually do some great work and helping those who are homeless quit being homeless.
I love your energy, Rich. And I talk to a lot of nonprofit leaders, and the one thing we all want is for the problem that we are trying to eliminate to be eliminated. So I can't wait to hear your ideas and what you've got going. Let's start by having you tell us more about your organization, Gospel Rescue Mission.
So Gospel Rescue Mission Oklahoma, we exist to help individuals and our community to flourish with God leading the way. So we are a faith-based organization, and we just look to God for wisdom. We read the scriptures and try to get ideas and thoughts from that. But our goal is to help these individuals accomplish great things. They weren't designed to live on the streets. They have so much more inside of them. They have some great value, and I want to help them do that. But I also want to support our community. If my homeless folks, they become my folks. I didn't use that term. People in the community said, well, your folks did this or did that. But our community needs them to be, our folks need to do the right things.
Right.
And so when they're trespassing or they're shoplifting or doing that hurts our community. And so I really coach our folks, don't trespass on somebody's property. If they do happen to do that, we will actually take them over to meet with that homeowner and say, I am sorry that I did that.
Wow.
I apologize for that. And if they're not willing to do that, then we may not be serving them because we really want to support our community. Same thing with shoplifting. If they shoplift, the stores send me a picture and I say, yeah, that's my friend Joe or Jacob or whoever. I will take them over there and they will repay. We always require them to do double whatever they stole. So we had a young man, Jacob, who stole a bag of potato chips for 75 cents or whatever it was, small bag. He had to take $1.50, give it to that store owner, and the store owner didn't know what to do with that.
Right. I'm sure they didn't. I don't know how to put this in the register. I don't know how to figure this out. Yeah. But also, think about for $1.50, think about what a meaningful impact that was. I hate to say it, but that's better than any advertising you could buy, Rich, to have that interaction with that store owner.
I learned this. We had a young man who was here and he had been in and out of prison. By the time I met him, I actually picked him up at jail. And if I can tell your listeners just one piece of advice, if you're going to go pick up somebody from jail, make sure you know who they are.
Okay.
I was picking him up because his mother said, can you pick up my son?
Yeah.
I said, sure. And at the time I didn't think until I'm sitting in the parking lot saying, I don't know what he looks like.
Wow.
So I showed up, picked up some random guy off the streets and I bring him to my place. Well, we have a class called Forging Past the Felony. And in this class, I encourage them to make things right. Wherever you have made a mistake, whether that's an apology to family or friends or neighbors or whatever it needs to be. But sometimes if you've stolen something, you need to repay it. Just kind of I was just talking about with our local store owners. And as he's sitting there, he had this realization, I stole about $500 worth of material from Walmart, shampoos, soaps, whatever, small little things, but added up to about $500. And at this point, he's got a solid job. I said, well, let's get you $500 worth of cash and let's go over to Walmart and meet with that Walmart manager. And we're going to give him that money back. And he was nervous. And this is a jail hardened man with all the jail hardened muscles, every stereotype of a prison guy. This is him.
Right.
And we walk in and this little, he's probably 22, 23 years old. Not very muscular, probably more intellectual than physical.
Yeah.
And my friend is like trembling.
Oh, Rich.
He's just a little guy. He goes, this guy's going to put me back in prison.
Oh, and he doesn't want to go there. I
And he
get
doesn't want to.
that.
But when he made it right, the manager had his first of all, I had to help him pull his chin up to because Walmart
No.
never has that happen.
Yeah.
And the manager said, if more people did this, we would be able to hire more felons and help more people along the way. So it became a
Right.
statement to him. But for this man, it changed his whole heart. He's like, you know what? I was treated with respect. I did the right thing. I didn't go to jail, which probably
Yeah.
helped out the whole situation.
Right.
And today, that young man he works 40 plus hours working as an electrician in Arizona.
Amazing.
And he could do more if he wanted to. He just says, 40 is good enough for me. I already own my home. He's got it paid off.
Good
I'm
for
just going to
him.
enjoy this life. But it
I
all
love
started
it.
with making it right.
I love it. So, Rich, you're providing curriculum, you're helping people. Tell me more about Gospel Rescue Mission. Like, what are the programs like? What does it look like? Tell me more.
Okay, so we get to know the men when they come in. They check in. We check in every single day, Monday through Friday, 12:30. Anybody in the area who needs a place to stay, needs a roof over their head, needs meals, they can show up, and we're going to provide that for them.
Wow.
We're also going to provide guidance counseling for them.
Yeah.
And over the first 3 weeks, they just get kind of a taste.
Mm-hmm.
This is how this is supposed to work. They can learn try out classes. They can try out we have a work training program. They can try that out.
Nice.
If they do have a felony, we encourage them to try our felony class, help them move forward with that. Try out the meals.
Yeah.
We serve meals to 75 people every single meal, and so some meals people say, "Well, that was terrible," and the same meal, somebody said that was the best meal I ever had.
Of course.
So that's the way that goes. And then, can you sleep in a barracks with 15 other men or 15 other women? That not everybody can pull that off.
Right. Right.
So they try it all out for 3 weeks. They're also building relationship with the staff and with the other guests. And so after 3 weeks, they will meet with a panel of 3 guests and 2 staff. And I want to highlight that there's 3 guests and 2 staff, and they're going to vote on whether they continue their stay.
Oh, wow. So the guests have a big part in this.
And because they see them day to day, they see them all the time. They can fool me. I'm kind of gullible in a lot of ways. They trick me all the time, but they're not going to fool these men and women from the streets. They're more
Yeah.
observant than most,
Yeah.
probably because they've had to survive.
Right.
But they also see them when I'm not looking. Well, when you're not looking, they're actually dealing drugs. When you're not looking, they're
Oh,
bullying other people.
yeah.
Or, you know what? You don't see them doing this, but they're secretly doing good stuff around the shelter. They're cleaning things up or making a bed or whatever. They're helping. Like, oh, okay, good. And that helps us get better data. And 5 people are going to be wiser than any one of us.
Yeah.
So they will have a conversation. It's not just a vote just randomly. It's a conversation. They have some interview questions, practicing for a future job interview. And they'll say, okay, this is who I am. This is what I want. What's my hope for the future? And then that panel will vote. And
Yeah.
it could be 3 guests outvoting both staff. And that has happened from time to time. Most of the time, though, it's all 5 one way or another. Everybody's kind of seeing the same sort of things. And then after that, they'll have a foundations curriculum that we developed, basic conflict resolution, basic study habits, basic, how work should be, how you should feel about work, and some other little small things just to kind of get them a base under their feet. And then after 2 weeks, we meet with them and we say, okay, what is your dreams? And we do a full assessment, physically, mentally, spiritually, socially. What are your barriers? Who are you? What are your hopes and dreams? I really love the hopes and
Ooh,
dreams
I
question.
love
That's
that. Hopes and dreams. That just almost seems so far but once you can open someone's mind to think about hopes and dreams, that's a game changer.
It's huge, but we can't do this. I've learned this when we first started doing it. I would ask them that the day they checked in.
Yeah.
Well, they're just coming off the streets. They can't even imagine hope.
Yeah.
But we've given them 5 to 6 weeks to kind of figure out, you know what? I do want something better. I can have
Mhm.
something better. And so when I ask that question, they actually have an answer.
Yeah.
And it's a realistic answer most of the time. And so then we'll set up a personal program to help them move toward that hopes and dreams. So our work training program will somehow, like for example, we had a young man who wanted to be a celebrity chef. I didn't even know there was such things until he shared that with me.
That's a big dream to be a celebrity chef.
But it really gave me some. I looked into it. I had to research that was a real job.
Yeah, right. Not
So
very many people can get the job of celebrity chef because
yeah,
first you have to be a celebrity and a
right,
chef. Yeah.
right. And so uh, he became our food service work sharp job training program. So he's working in the kitchen, learning all those job skills to learn the basics of how you do the kitchen, moving toward being a chef.
I love it.
And then eventually, as things were going along, he would show different behaviors saying, you know what, that probably won't work for you to become a celebrity chef or to keep a job, or his other dream was to be reunited with his family.
Oh, well, that's a good one too.
And so we would say, how does that behavior going to get you back with your family? How's that behavior getting there? So instead of really a punishment, it's saying your behaviors are now keeping you from your dream.
Yeah.
And it's not just random. It's, we know you, we want to have a relationship with you, and we want you to fulfill your dreams.
I really like it. I like it. Rich, tell me this. So obviously you are doing a lot of work with homelessness and poverty. Why is this work so important right now in 2026?
Oh, I mean, from late 60s, we started this war on poverty.
Yeah.
And we have put billions with a B into
Right.
this. Some experts are saying even trillions of dollars into
And
this.
it doesn't feel like it's getting a lot better, does it?
It's getting worse.
Yeah.
In a lot of ways, it's because we don't actually expect anything out of these men and women. We don't see the value in them. Say, oh, they're just poor little boobaloos who are living on the street. We need to pamper them and get them into a home and get them going forward. And so we've kind of wasted all this money.
Mm.
And the longer they're out there, the more ingrained they get into street life.
Yeah.
And I get really nervous when they've been out there for 3 to 6 months. I start to see a change in their thinking and their dynamics, and it takes a long time to shake that out of them.
Right.
And so now is the time to pull this off because the problem is getting so big. I don't know how long we can wait.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm a person who wants to take action now.
I feel that about you. And actually, that leads me to my next question for you, Rich. Like, how did you come to this line of work? Like, what shaped your calling to be in this space?
Well, many years ago now, I was in the Army. It was early 2001, and I was having a time of prayer, and I wrote out a description of a shelter. I said that I didn't even know these sort of things existed. I had volunteered at one before, but I wanted something more, something that could really enhance the value and encourage people, for men, for women, help restore relationships, get them back out into the community, and just be an everyday person. And I wrote this just as during a time of devotion and prayer. Well, as I'm getting ready to get out of the Army, I decided I'm just going to I need to find a job because there wasn't a job in homelessness.
Right, right.
I didn't have no idea. And in a way, I had also kind of forgotten about that vision, that dream that I had written and all. And I kind of just put it in my journal and said, that'll be someday.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I applied. I got out of the Army. I was a college graduate. Was an Army officer, and I could not get a job. It's 2001, shortly after. I mean, I got out. I was actually at my out processing during the whole 9/11
Right.
attacks. And 3 months later, I'm out and trying to find a job, and everybody rejected me. And my heart broke when I got turned down to be a mall security guard.
Wow. Yeah.
See, I am defending the nation, but I can't defend them all.
Can't defend them all.
But anyway, so I started applying for jobs. And one of those jobs that I had applied for turns out to be a homeless shelter. And at the time, I didn't realize it was a women's shelter because I probably would not have put my name in it. I just assumed no man is ever going to be hired to work at a women's shelter.
Right. Probably not.
But it turns out that they had a conversation as they were looking to hire this position, saying, it would be really great if we can find a healthy male to hang out with these ladies, because most of these ladies have been hurt by a male.
Mm-hmm.
So the easiest way to get to healing is for them to have a healthy relationship with a male to move them forward. And so when they interviewed me, they interviewed me for 3 months.
That's a long time.
It was over the course of 3 months. And I thought, man, I got to get a job because I got to get these
right.
kids. I got 2 kids. I got to get them fed. I got to get them diapered, clothed, and they're growing. What am I going to do? But eventually they hire me. And it was really going to be my short-term gig. I really had dreams of being a pastor or some other leader. I didn't really think that I could handle this working with these ladies. My first night working with the ladies, I was an overnight manager.
Wow.
I was terrified. I was thinking, I've gone into semi-conflict situations, and I was less scared
than being with this group of ladies.
Because they could destroy my reputation in a heartbeat.
Oh, right.
I'm thinking of my own temptations, my own flesh getting in the way. And I thought, I am doomed. But the truth is, I did really fall in love with these ladies. They're
Wow.
incredible. Some of them, many of them, are still my friends in social media. That was in Washington. I'm in Oklahoma now, so
Yeah.
distance separates us. But I love the possibilities and potential inside of them. I love the things that are really important to them. I remember one lady, Pamela Joe. Her nickname was PJ because she loved peanut butter and jelly, and also went with her name, obviously. But she threw the biggest tantrum over we ran out of peanut butter one day. It's like, well, we still got jelly. It
Yeah,
wasn't going to be
right?
good enough.
And
But just the fun and the excitement, the stories they would share, the things they would try to get better. Uh,
yeah.
One lady, she said, I could walk into a room with 99 healthy, good for me men, and one guy who's going to treat me like dirt, and I'm
I'd
drawn to
find
the
him.
one who's going to treat me like dirt. I will grab onto him. And she goes, so her plan was, I am not going to date for the next, I can't remember, it's like 6 months out, and I'm going to study healthy relationships and how to identify healthy relationships.
Wow.
And so she took some online classes. They were kind of new at the time. She took went to a local college and took a psychology class, trying to figure out why in the world she's doing this, had her own counselor. She invested in that. So 6 months later, she started dating, said, nope, not for me. And she figured out date one, he's not going to work. Date two for somebody else. Nope, not going to work. And eventually found a good guy. But she did the training before she went back out in the pool.
Yeah. Rich, because this is a podcast and people are listening while they're driving and walking and doing dishes and all the things people do when they listen to podcasts, they're not going to get to see you. I see your face light up when you talk about potential and possibilities. And when we started talking, one of the things you said is people who are experiencing homelessness are not helpless. Like, talk to me more about that because I do think that is a common misperception that you wouldn't be, and I might get myself in trouble, but I'm just going to be really authentic. People, I think you must be helpless or you wouldn't be in this situation. Tell me how wrong I am.
Oh, your wording is so close. What they
Yeah.
are is they're feeling hopeless. And
Ah,
people who feel hopeless don't want to try. They don't want to take a chance.
yeah.
They have
Yeah.
they have tried. They have tried
Yeah.
100 different things, 100 different relationships, and all
Yeah.
of them have failed. And they take it inside. It was all me. And in some cases, there was a piece that is them. And in most cases, it's going to be have an element of them. But they have these incredible skills and abilities to actually make our society better. But nobody's giving them the chance. So the first thing I have to do is I have to help reinstill that hope inside of them. I don't know if you or your listeners have heard the rat experiment that they did. If there's any rat fans listening, maybe they might not want to. They might want to
Tell
tune
me
us
more.
out for
I'm not
this.
sure if I've heard this one or not. Tell me more, Rich.
So they did this experiment where they took a rat and they put him in water and had him swim as long as you could swim. And it turns out the average rat can swim about 15 minutes, which is
Okay.
pretty good for a mammal
Yeah.
without stopping. 15 minutes. And I mean, it's literally swam to death. I mean, that's kind of cruel. Maybe that's why if
Yeah.
you're a rat fan, you'd be upset right now.
Right, right, right.
But round two, they put the rat in, and about 14 and a half minutes, they pulled the rat out and they said, real rat, you are a good little swimmer. I'm so proud of
Oh.
you. You're really good. And I don't think they speak English, but they kind of talk nice to him. 30 seconds to a minute, they put him back in the water.
And they kept going?
And then, so the thing is that it wasn't just another 15 minutes, it was 4 days. 4 days of swimming from that, 2 minutes, a minute and a half of hope given to them. And the same thing happens with these men and women. If they are given that hope, these are men and women who one time wanted to be doctors and lawyers, and
Yeah.
they want to be business people, and they have creative ideas. They want to be
Yeah.
marketers. One guy wants to be a DJ. I talked about the celebrity chef. Some of them just want to be a garbage man.
Wow.
And like, well, that's great. We need that.
We do.
We need plumbers and electricians, and we need all those skills. I grew up in an era where you're a college prep or you were nothing. And I
Right.
think we're paying a price for that right now. It's a whole different conversation. Uh,
There's
but
a lot of good jobs out there,
oh, there are.
high paying jobs for people that take alternate paths. And there's a lot of people with expensive college degrees that aren't making enough to pay their student loans, right?
Yeah, yeah,
So there's both sides of that equation.
yeah. The guy who's fixed my dishwasher when it broke, he is actually an accounting major, and he's doing this to pay off his accounting college fees.
I
Like,
love it.
wow.
I love it. So, Rich, we've got a lot of I have smart listeners, people who want to make a difference in the world. What would you like to let community leaders know that they should do differently or maybe more effectively to address this problem?
Well, first of all, it's a team effort.
Mm,
It's going to take a lot of different ideas. You need to have the business people at the table.
yeah.
They're the ones with the money. I think we also need to recognize. So you have those, you have business owners. You have to have some church leaders, and
Yeah.
that not just. I'm Christian, so my brain automatically goes there. But you can have the Muslim and the
Yeah.
Jewish leaders, whatever kind of faith-based groups you have. They are designed for charity and care and
Mm,
compassion and virtue, all
right.
those sort of things. You need to bring in school leaders because this is impacting the children of the homeless.
Absolutely.
And then obviously the social workers are going to be there because that's what we do. We want to be
Yep.
part of that conversation. But what tends to happen is the business leaders say, "Oh, you social worker, you know what you're talking about." And sometimes we do. But the conversation needs to be, how does this impact our community and our society? So leaders of the whether city or county, they need to bring them all together and say, how can we work together to really not just manage the situation,
Yeah.
but to help them grow and prosper and flourish. Is one of my favorite words that we use here is flourish.
Flourish. I love it. It's a different word, which means people take a moment to think about it, right? When you hear a word that don't use every day.
And I think of that with when my daughter was 3, when she's all grown up, she's getting ready to have, by the time this airs, I'll have 5 granddaughters. She's getting ready to
Oh,
have my 5th
congratulations.
granddaughter. Thank you. But when she was 3, we were teaching her how to plant things. And so she would get beans and, different kind of flowers. She was all excited about this. Well, one day I took her to the store and we walked past and her eyes get real big and she gets all excited and she sees bird seed. And we've taught her that apple seeds grow apples and flower seeds grow flowers. And
Do
so in
bird
her
seeds grow
3-year-old
birds?
brain, she's like, "Oh, I'm going to grow some birds, Dad." And at that point, I'm a new dad and I love my princess and I'm going to buy her the bird seed. We're going to grow some birds
Oh my goodness.
because I can't break her heart. Well, we take that bird seed home and we, put it in the dirt and there's a whole lot that goes with that. But I'm expecting nothing to happen. I'm going to put down a stuffed bird or something 4 or 5 days later. That's my plan.
Right.
However, something sprouts. And I thought, I know it's not going to be a bird, but what is happening here? And we waited and watched and let it grow. And that ended up being a sunflower.
Really?
And that sunflower blossomed and grew. And eventually we had to take it out of the pot and we had to put it into a garden.
Wow.
And then at the end of that season, we took the seeds and we planted in the garden next year.
I love
And so
it.
it became, that was flourishing. You can either have
Flourishing.
growth or you can have flourishing.
And you know what happens when you grow a sunflower plant? I've tried before, and it's not that easy because birds
Oh,
and
yeah.
deer all come and try and eat the seeds, right? So I
Yeah,
do
that worked
love
out because we were in the city and we had some protections there. But
that.
yeah.
Very nice, very nice. So we talked about like what would you tell community leaders and talked about bringing lots of people together. What if I'm just one person I'd like to make a difference? What advice do you have for that one person who wants to make a difference in the world?
So when you see that person,
Yeah.
look at them in the face.
Yeah.
We tend to look away. One day I took
Mm,
a bunch of people, our folks out, and we had them all in dress suits, interview clothes, and
yeah.
they were going to stand out of the corner, same corners they have been panhandling out, but now we're going to hand out resumes.
Yeah.
And I'm out there with them. I'm dressed up just like them. I'm handing out resumes just in case my board's listening. I wasn't handing out resumes.
You're not looking for a new job.
Not looking for a new
Okay.
job, but they were. But what was interesting is I'm standing out there. They're the people who would pull up. They would look away. They wouldn't look at them.
Yeah.
And I thought, how does that got to feel after 30, 60, 90 minutes
Oh,
of this? Because I'm feeling like dirt. I have a
yeah.
home. I have a job. And I'm feeling beat up after just a little
Yeah.
while out here. So
Oh,
look at them. And then if you do feel compelled to give them something, I highly recommend getting 2 sandwiches and sitting down and talking to them,
yeah.
hearing their story. Get to know them. Obviously, I want you to be safe too. So don't do this in an unsafe way. Be
Right, right,
wise.
right.
But if you can, and it is safe and it's daylight, sit down and hear their story. You're going to learn some new things and interesting things.
Yeah.
I remember we were sitting at a restaurant. My wife and I, was one of our anniversary meals, and my wife gets used to this. It's unfortunate for her. But I'm looking out the window and I see someone panhandling out in the corner, and I'm thinking, okay, I'm on a date. I
Yeah.
am not going to look. I'm not going to
I'm
do my
not going
job.
out there. I'm
Not going
not.
to go out there. I
Yeah.
don't know this particular person, which that's kind of a draw when I don't know who they are.
Right.
I can resist a little bit when I know who they are because I know I can have a conversation later, but I don't know this guy. Well, I decide I'm going to go over there and talk to him. I said, "Is it all right?" And she's okay with it. I go and talk to him, and I find out he was actually from another community. He was being bussed in by some organization that was trying to get money. They were using him. I was like, "That's not right."
That is not right. That is why people are skeptical, right?
Oh,
That
it
is
is.
why people are skeptical. Yeah, yeah. Wow, Rich, that's crazy. All right. So the advice is look people in the eye, talk to them, hear their story, pay them with respect. I have to admit I am guilty of that because I feel bad. I don't know what to do. I feel bad and uncomfortable, so I look away.
Yeah. Well, that's the other thing too. People say, "Well, what do I want to talk about?" You ask them, what's your story?"
Yeah.
That's all the question you have to ask, and
What's your
they will take
story?
it from there.
Yeah.
And I also got to warn you, you may not get the truth. That's why we kind of give them 5 weeks, and then they can trust me enough to tell me the truth.
Good point for me to ask, Rich, what's on the horizon for Gospel Rescue Mission?
Well, right now I'm putting together a committee within our community, within our county. In Oklahoma, I tend to think county wise. We have 77 different counties.
Yeah.
And I've done a study and figured out how many homeless are in each county.
Wow. Because
They
that is
do
a
a
hard thing to do. Those kinds of counts are
Yeah.
not easy to do. Or maybe I misunderstand and maybe you've got an easy way to do it,
There is no real easy way to do it, and I'm pretty sure that my numbers are still wrong,
but
but
they're
they're different
probably
than.
a good representation, right?
It gives me a
Yeah.
good picture, a good idea of how many are in each county. And what we did is we actually called county commissioners and sheriffs in each county and got those
Oh,
numbers.
well, that's probably a really good way to do it.
And they do a 1-day count every year.
Yep.
However, they don't always get everybody, and somehow
Right.
just trying to do it over 1 day, they're going to miss a lot of people. So the numbers are not very accurate,
Yeah.
but that's what's used by most government officials.
Yeah.
So we've done this research. We've called each of these counties. We have a pretty good number, and and this is just our one county. We're going to try to figure out how would we serve our 85 homeless folks. And I know our numbers are actually higher than that. Our real numbers are closer to 120,
Okay.
but our 1-day count is going to be 85. So I'm going to say, well, putting together this committee, working through a process that we've developed. How do we help those 85? And we want to get to know them by name.
Mm,
How do we get to know their story? How do we get to
yeah.
help move them forward so they're not going to be homeless 3 months, 6 months, a year from now?
Right.
So we're putting together a strategic plan. In November, we're electing a new governor in Oklahoma, and I want to have a plan together so that way somehow in that first 3 to 6 months of whoever wins, we have a couple candidates, but we don't have all of them, I'm
Yeah.
sure yet.
Yeah. But you have a plan. I can tell. I love it.
And our group is going to present a plan to that new governor and have that for their whole time in office, working on this plan and offering our services. Because our goal is that we would do this in such a way that doesn't cost the state extra money. I mean, they're
Right.
already spending a certain amount. We want to
I
spend what we
think
got.
most states would be very grateful for that because there are very few states at this moment in time that have a surplus. And if Oklahoma does, they're one of the very, very few.
They say they have a surplus sometimes, depending on who's in office.
Yeah, that's right. Depending on who's in office and how close the election is. So, Rich, you have a great story. You're doing really innovative things. I love hearing about your work. For our listeners who would like to learn more, maybe send you a donation, maybe just tap into some of your knowledge, where can they find more information about Gospel Rescue Mission?
So first they can go to grmok.org,
All right.
grmok.org. That will give you a general picture. You'll see some opportunities to donate. You also hear some stories, some part of what we're doing and who we are. Also contact information if you want to contact us directly, our social media, all those things. All of our
Perfect.
social media are on Facebook and Twitter or X, sorry. All those different social media is grmok 1931. We've been around
Okay.
since 1931. So you can find all those. But also for your listeners today, I want to offer a special gift. It's a guide for how to do this, either for helping an individual or for your community.
Wow.
So
How
they
do
would
they
go to
tap into that, Rich?
grmok.org/free gift,
Okay.
and then they'll give you an option. Do you want the individual one or do you want the community one?
Cool.
And you
I'm
click
going
on
to be
that,
the
and it'll give
first
it to you.
person to sign up.
It would be beautiful.
All right. We will, for our listeners, we will have both of those links, the grmok.org and the link for the free gift on our website with the show notes. So if you didn't catch that, or if you're walking or driving, we will have that out there for you so you can catch that link. All right. I love it. Everything you've said here is just so inspiring. But I want to ask you my favorite question next. And Rich, that is, I would like a Rich Schaus original quote to inspire our listeners.
I'm going to caveat this with saying a lot of people think motivation is what they need to get moving forward with life.
Yeah.
When I feel like it, I'm going to do it. I'm going to be a hard charger, going to change the world. But one of the things I've taught my children, and that I have to remind myself, is motivation isn't going to get you there. Discipline is going to get you there. So discipline is more powerful than motivation. That would be my quote of the day. Really funny story is that my son was going through some challenges, and he was feeling a lack of motivation. So of course, I shared that with him again. You remember, it's not about motivation. It's about discipline. You just get up and you do your job and you do the right things and you eat right and exercise and do these basic things. And I didn't think he was really listening, because he kind of said, "Oh yeah, Dad, I've heard that." He kind of blew me off.
Yeah.
Well, my wife was talking about not being motivated one day, and my son goes, Mom, motivation only gets you so far. Discipline is more powerful than motivation. I was like, yes.
I love it.
The boy was listening.
Parenting is a difficult task. And when you get those wins like that, it just propels you forward. You could swim for 4 days after that, I bet, right?
I bet.
I love it. Rich, such a great conversation. As we wrap up our time together, I'd love to hear from your perspective, what is the most important thing you would like our listeners to remember about the work that you're doing?
Well, I have different categories. I've been thinking about this a little bit. So if you are someone who's a social worker or someone who's working with the homeless, don't give up. There are days where you're going to feel like quitting. I've been to more funerals for drug overdoses in my career than I can count. It is heartbreaking and devastating. You actually rejoice at them being in jail because you know where they're at and they're safe, or okay at least. So if you're a social worker or somebody working with the homeless, don't give up. If you're a community leader, I would love to help you out. You cannot do this on your own. You have an expertise on governing your community, but you cannot be everywhere doing everything. So find someone like myself or someone else who can be an expert for you to help you do it.
Very nice.
And then if you're an individual, don't just do a handout. That is so demeaning and it hurts them in the long run. They will take that stuff because they feel like they need it. But really what they need is relationship. In America, we are not material poor in any way, shape, and form. Even those who are homeless are not materially poor. They are relationship poor.
Yeah.
So give them relationship, get to know them, hear their story, reconnect with them. You can do it over a meal. You can do it in a shelter. You can do it all sorts of places, but build a relationship first and foremost.
Wow, great advice. Rich, I really enjoyed this conversation. I fully believe the world needs more people like you, more organizations like Gospel Rescue Mission. Thank you so much for taking time to talk with us today.
Oh, thank you for having me today.
We hope you enjoyed today's Agency for Change podcast. To hear all our interviews with those who are making a positive change in our communities, or to nominate a changemaker you'd love to hear from, visit KidGlov.com at KIDGLOV.com to get in touch. As always, if you like what you've heard today, be sure to rate, review, subscribe, and share. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.